My name's Bill Stebbins. I own Stebbins Garage. Behind me is my 92 Firebird that I've built into a 92 Firehawk Trans Am tribute car. And I'm gonna tell you the story of how this came to be. I'm gonna show you the car, show you some clips from previous episodes. We've done 45 episodes on this car so far, and it's been a blast. I'm glad that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll stick around. So when this project first started, it was because I had located my 1984 Firebird. That behind me is my actual first car. So my dad bought that for me as a wrecked car when I was 16 years old. He and I fixed the car together. We fixed it up together. And I had the car for about 12 or 13 years before I sold it. I had just built a house. I had my 99 Trans Am Firehawk that was kind of behind the camera that you can't see. And we needed to put some more money into this new house that we had just built. So this had to go. It was in great shape when I sold it, and I really hated to get rid of it. But you know, at the time I had to do what I had to do. So I've had a bunch of cool cars in the meantime, and fast forward to 2022, November of 2022, this thing pops up on Marketplace, this 84 Firebird. Immediately I know it's mine. People are sending it to me, and I decided I'd go look at it. I really didn't want to have to deal with a project car at the time, but kind of felt like the universe was saying, hey, go get this car. So my buddy Mike and I went over and we looked at the car, and it was pretty rough. And when I say pretty rough, I mean, like, I was almost sick to my stomach to see the condition it was in. The custom interior was pretty much destroyed. It had been sitting outside, so you can see the condition of the paint. The chrome underneath was starting to rust. The floors were rusty. It did run. It had hydraulics on it. The hydraulics were still working, but it was something I didn't really want to take on. So we thanked the guy, and I went on my merry way. Well, I kept thinking about it, and a couple days later, I gave it some more thought. You know what? Probably not going to get this opportunity again. So called the guy, made a deal, knew I could get most of my money back out of the car just by selling off the bits and pieces. The hydraulics were worth some money to somebody because it was an original Red's 2-pump setup. The engine and transmission was worth something to somebody. And so all told, I think I'm $1,000 into this car. And little did I know how much money this car behind me was gonna cost once I got into the project.
We're on the road. At least we made it out of the driveway.
So we get the car back, I tear it down. I did a couple of videos. I think I did 2 videos. We cleaned the car up and stuff like that. That was kind of the start of reigniting my YouTube channel on Stebbins Garage. That's when I switched it over from what it was before, doing tech stuff. And I realized pretty quickly that this car needed a buddy. It needed a parts car. And I kind of fooled around with it for a little while, fixing little stuff here and there. At the time, I didn't know how to weld. I didn't actually own a welder, so I bought a welder and started learning how to do that. And then in March of the next year, so about 4 months later, the 92 Firebird pops up. It's red. All the parts look to be in pretty good shape. It's got an interior that's in okay shape. It was a V6, which I didn't care about, and I thought it'd make a good parts car. The price was good, and it was, for a bonus for me, the 92 front end and rear end, and they had the Trans Am ground effects even though it was a Firebird. And so made a deal on that one, got it home, started tearing it apart. That starts in episode 3 of the series, so you can go back and watch. And lo and behold, it's got rust. Not shocking because, well, every one of these 3rd gens is kind of a bucket if we're being honest. So now it's become fairly clear I need to fix this other car first. I'm not comfortable working on this car to the best of my ability, and I need to learn some stuff. So I decide, let's take this 92 Firebird, probably can get it LS swapped and running and driving by the end of summer. Well, we all know that didn't happen, but I did learn a whole lot on the car. I decided I was going to do just a junkyard LS, a 5.3, do a T56, upgrade the suspension, make the interior a little bit nice. And the project kind of snowballed, as you saw throughout the videos, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And you may be asking yourself, why a Firehawk clone? Well, anybody that knows me personally knows I have a 99 Firehawk Trans Am. I have number 156, and I've had that car since 1999. So I've had it almost 25 years. It's sitting up on the 4-post lift there. We get it out, a couple times a year and enjoy it. We go to the Trans Am Nationals, and I've always wanted a 92 Firehawk. That was kind of the pinnacle of the 3rd gen F bodies for me. And there was 27 of them, and they were all stupid expensive even when they were built. Nobody was reproducing a lot of the parts for them. And really, if I wanted something that I could enjoy, I wasn't gonna buy one to go out and enjoy. So in doing some research, I found that there was one 92 Firehawk Trans Am convertible that was built by SLP. And after I started reading about it and kind of understanding the story, I thought, you know what, this is right up my alley. So let me try and tell you the story real quick. Essentially, there was this guy that was kind of an old farmer type guy. He had a lot of money, but you wouldn't know it just by looking at him. And he saw one of the Firehawks at some event that SLP had taken it to, and he wanted one, but he wanted a convertible. Well, at the time, they were only offering them in a Formula, and the Formula didn't come in a convertible. SLP had already ramped down production, so he said, okay, well, if you change your mind, here's my number, call me. So fast forward a couple weeks, SLP's like, I wonder if this guy was really serious. And so they called the guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm serious. They said, well, the only thing that's available as a convertible is a Trans Am. And he said, that's fine. So they found a red Trans Am convertible sitting on a dealer lot back in 1992. And they took the car to their facility. They converted it into a Firehawk, and they did a whole bunch of cool stuff to it. And that guy has the only 91, 92 Firehawk in existence that's a Trans Am and a convertible. I don't know what the status of that car is today. I don't know where it is. I don't know if the guy's still around, what happened to the car. But that is, to me, like super cool that he was able to get that done after the fact. And it's car number 27. You can read the whole magazine article. Super cool. And so that was I'm in on that. That's where we're headed. I mean, I was already doing some of the same touches, upgrading the engine, upgrading the transmission, upgrading the suspension, et cetera, et cetera. Is it the same? Absolutely not. Is it my own take on that? Absolutely. And so in the course of these videos, you can see exactly what I've been doing with the suspension, making the undercarriage super nice, really kind of tried to make the interior as nice as I could. I've never seen one like that before. We did under the hood, it's all painted, everything's nicely detailed. And if you've been watching, you know I am almost to a fault details person. I do dumb stuff that doesn't matter to anybody, but it matters to me, and knowing that there's some little touches that I did, all the 3D printing stuff that I did, all the decals, all the trimming, the swapping stuff out, that's me, that's how I've always been, and that's kind of what this car represents. So fast forward, it took me a while to get through all of the hurdles and challenges on this car. Some of the things I've never done. I've never torn an engine completely down. I've never done any standalone ECU. I've never welded stuff that was structural and made it work. And, you know, it was daunting. I mean, people are saying, man, I don't know how you know how to do all this stuff. Bro, I'm on YouTube just like you. Like, how do I do this? I don't know. Let me see who's got a video out there. And so if you're watching me thinking I know what I'm doing, I don't. I'm winging it just like you. I edit my videos and it kind of looks like I know what I'm doing to most people. So if you're scared of doing a project like this, you just got to start. Worst case, you screw it up and you have to beg somebody to help you. I've done that a couple times and it's not that bad. So what did we do to the car? Well, first we addressed all the rust. There was a lot of it and it was more than I expected. The car was originally a V6 automatic and we quickly pulled all that out and got rid of it. I got rid of all the wiring for the computer and stuff like that because I knew we were going to go with a Holly. Once I got all that taken apart, we sent it over to my buddy Oscar and he did a phenomenal job painting the engine bay. It looks 1,000 times better. Once the engine bay was done, it came back to my shop where we started working on the rest of the details. We have complete BMR suspension, tubular K-member, lower control arms, you name it. I have UMI weight jacks on the car in the front. That way I can adjust the height of the car. I knew that it was going to be a challenge to get the ride height set exactly where I wanted it if I was just cutting springs. We went ahead and got a 5.3 LS. It's an LM7 out of like an 0405 Tahoe, I think. It had unknown miles on it, so we tore that down. You can see all the videos about that where we did all the gaskets. I went through and cleaned up everything. I didn't do bearings. We put a BTR Truck Norris cam in this engine. It sounds phenomenal. Went ahead and swapped it over to an F-body style accessory drive, which is a lot cleaner. I did an LS6 intake, LS6 injectors. I stuck with the stock throttle body from the truck. We just cleaned that up and it is drive-by cable. That simplified things greatly. Did a Holley Terminator X, which for the first time ever setting one up, I think was a fantastic move. And we did a T56 Magnum F, and that's a close ratio transmission. I got that from Tick Performance. LS7 clutch, aluminum drive shaft out of a 4th gen. Still has the stock rear end in it, so I can't really do much with it at this point. It's a stock, I don't know, 277 gear ratio. And it has disc brakes. That's the only plus. We pulled that out of the other car so that I could get this one rolling. We do have a formula hood on the car, which was one of the hallmarks for a Firehawk. And that came on the car when I bought it, which was nice. The paint on it's terrible. I did a eBay style radiator, aluminum radiator, and that seems to be working well. I swapped over to 4th gen brakes on the master cylinder. We're using a Tick Clutch Master, and that works well. We had to cut holes for that. I swapped over the pedals assembly. Hawks makes a 3rd gen reproduction set, and that worked perfectly. Something else the Firehawks were built with is upgraded brakes. They used a Brembo setup from an F40 Ferrari. Cool. We used a Brembo setup from a CTSV in the front. They're a 4-piston Brembo. They just barely clear with the wheels that we have on there. Those wheels are, in my opinion, the absolute pinnacle, the best looking wheel on any 3rd gen F-body. You can fight me on that one. These are Hawks 18x10 reproduction units that look just like a 3rd gen Ronal R15. And I couldn't be more happy with how these turned out. They fit perfect. They clear the brakes. They're super wide. They just look so aggressive on this car, and I am ecstatic with how those turned out. Big thank you to my friend Barry Wood, who painted the parts on there for me. It was tough finding somebody to do that. So super happy about that. Early on in the build, I was offered a set of GTA tail lights for a really good price, and they ended up being really probably not even worth what I paid, but you can go back and watch that video if you're interested. We ended up making them look really nice. Mike was able to give me a wiring harness to basically make them a plug and play setup. Hawks also makes a really nice 91-92 Trans Am spoiler that's a reproduction of the original. It's made of fiberglass. It fits super nice. My buddy Oscar painted that as well. We got that fitted up. We filled the old holes from the original wing that was on the Firebird, and I couldn't be happier with how all these body modifications turned out. So what about the paint? Let's talk about the paint. So right now it has patina. The car was painted at some point in its life, and the paint isn't the best, but I'm enjoying the car. I'm going out, I'm driving it. I haven't washed it in over a month, and that's okay. It's a paint job away from being a super nice example of what I built. And so for now, it's just gonna stay like this. We'll think about it in the spring or the summer or whenever. We've already kind of set ourselves up to be able to paint it fairly easily. The engine bay's already been painted, and the body has been gone over. My friend Brad came over and did paintless dent removal on probably 98% of the dings and stuff that are on here. So really it just needs to be, cleaned up, sprayed, and it would be super nice. We did Raptor liner on the entire underbody after we did all of our rust repair, so that should be solid. And honestly, there's not really anything I would change as far as the way the car turned out. It sounds amazing. We did a 4th gen exhaust with a resonator, and just did some simple turn downs for it. Right now, at some point I want to do a 2 out the left exhaust that was part of the Firehawk package. That's about a $1,500 item from Hawks, and honestly it just wasn't in the budget when we were trying to finish the car up. So we'll address that later and see if that's something that we can do. So as far as the interior goes, ended up doing a set of GTA seats. They are really nice now. They were in terrible condition when I bought them. They were only about $150 for the pair. Grabbed a set of seat covers from lseat.com. The seat covers are like $400 from them. And I was able to do some custom stuff. So I got I guess it's black leather, and then I did red stitching. And that really was kind of a nod to my Mercedes GLA 45 that I drive every day. It has red seat belts, black interior with red stitching, and some red accents. So this car kind of has that same styling. We ended up sending the seat belts out to Safety Restore, and they had a seat belt material that was red with a black edge. So we did that, and I think it turned out really well. It adds a little bit of style to it. I don't have a dash pad yet. I've just got a carpet on it. I bought a really nice dash pad, and the guy I bought it from was kind enough to just throw it in a box and ship it, and no padding or anything. So you can imagine how the 3rd gen dash fared being shipped. It came just completely destroyed. So we're still looking for one of those, but not terribly concerned about it. I have brand new carpet in there. And in the course of repairing this car, I realized I needed another parts car for the parts car. So we picked up an 88 Trans Am for a good price, and it had black interior, which was perfect for me because I needed black plastic for the style that I wanted to do. That was one of the things in that number 27. It actually had a dark interior, whereas the other ones would have gray. So ended up getting that black interior all cleaned up and put in, and it just looks phenomenal. I took the door panels. It had the upgraded door panels. We had an insert made for that with some red stitching to match. And I think the interior, really, I'm so happy with it. I did a 4th gen console. One of the things that I didn't like with the 3rd gen console is with the manual and a short shifter, it just didn't look right. And the Firehawks, when they came from the factory, they had a special console that was designed around the 6-speed manual. So it's not the same. I don't know if Hawks is going to reproduce that now that they're building some Firehawk reproductions or whatever you call them. So that's the story of how my 92 Firehawk Trans Am clone, it's not even a clone, it's just a tribute car to car number 27. I love the styling of it. I love the way it looks on these wheels. I love the way it sounds. Still working on the driving aspect and getting everything lined out. But it's been a fun project, and it's not done by any means. I still have a lot of stuff to work out on it. But after 45 episodes of building this car, I'm gonna be looking for some other stuff to work on too. So I may start on the 84 and start doing some stuff with that. I don't quite have a game plan on that car yet. But anyway, it's winter here. It's almost Christmas. We're a couple days before Christmas. And I thought I'd take some time and talk about the car since I haven't actually done a video like this ever. And, you know, I've layered in some clips of the car over the course of its build. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've watched the videos, you know, over the last year and a half and you've enjoyed it, let me know. These take a lot of time to make. It actually takes probably 3 or 4 times as much time to video and edit and all that as it would if I just worked on the car. But I love hearing from people. There's a small group of you that are following everything that I'm building, and it really is encouraging to hear people tell me that they love what I'm doing, because sometimes, honestly, I'm out here in my shop and I'm working and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, I'm out here and it feels like it's never ending. But it's really encouraging to see people enjoy the build. When we get to go out and take the car somewhere and it rolls in and you can hear the cam and it's fairly loud, and it's a rush, it really is. And I'm super excited to be able to enjoy it in the spring. So I'm gonna line out a couple things. The heat's not working yet. The AC compressor's not on, so I wanna get the AC working so I can enjoy it in the summer. And need to get that rear end swapped out for something better. So we're gonna be working on that, but in the meantime, it's gonna sit here in the 62-degree heated garage while I work on some other stuff. And on an occasional day, I'm gonna take it out and enjoy it. And I think that's the best way to really enjoy your stuff after you worked on it. I don't know how many hours I have in it, but it's a lot. So we're gonna make sure that we enjoy the car. And that's one of the best things about a tribute car is you don't have to worry about, you know, replacing some priceless piece of history if something happens to it. I mean, it would suck, yeah, I would hate it, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I'll probably get some questions on how much I spent building this car. I'm not sure my wife watches my videos, but even if she does, that's a good question. It's probably around $27,000 all told, between buying the car and all the repair parts and parts cars. And that includes a brand new T56 Magnum F. That includes all of the engine seals, replacement parts, blah, blah, blah. Doing the complete interior, the complete undercarriage, a full BMR suspension. I mean, there's not a whole lot we didn't touch on this car. And so I've offset a lot of that by opening an Etsy shop, and parts that I've made for this car are available on my Etsy store. So, you know, some of the cool stuff like the headlight knobs, the window switch thingy for the 4th gen console, some of the cubby stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So if you want to check that out, go check it out. But that's actually been a huge help in offsetting most of the cost of this car over the last year and a half. I'll tell you, I don't make any money on YouTube. The $5 a month that they're putting in a bank until I reach 100, it's not paying for any of this. So mainly the reason I do YouTube is because it's fun and it's a cool way to share this. And at some point, maybe somebody will be inspired to build their own car. And I hope you are, because it's a lot of fun and it's rewarding, even though when you're in the middle of it, it's a huge pain. So get out there and build something. Don't be discouraged if you don't know how to do something. Get on YouTube, watch people like me that don't know what they're doing, struggle and eventually figure it out. If I can do it, you can too. So in trying to finish up this car, there was one show that I was dead set on making it to, and that was Rad Revival. This was a new show that was started this year by Eric Benson, the founder of River City Rippers. It's all 80s and 90s cars, and I thought, what better car to take than a 90s Firebird? Okay, but anyway, that was my target. So early spring and summer of this year, when that was announced, I was like, okay, I know I was just building this as a project, but I really want this car there. And so I spent the next 6 months focused on getting this done, and it came down to the wire. I finished the car at 8 p.m. the night before the show. It was a Thursday. The next morning, I was fortunate enough to be asked to appear on the local news. They were going to be doing a live remote from the show at, I think I had to get there at like before 5 a.m. And I'd only driven the car around the block. I mean, you saw me drive it around the block. So, luckily everything worked out. I had to drive it about 20 miles to downtown Louisville at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I took side streets. Everything went fine. There were a couple little things I needed to address, but we went to Rad Revival. It was an amazing show. We had a great time. There was pop-up headlights galore.
Oh, Rad Revival is an event celebrating all things 80s and 90s, especially the cars, and it is all part of the weekend's Jack Daniel's Wicked Garden. Sam Carter is in Paristown with more. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Carrie, that's right. Yeah, Rad Revival is tonight, and it's all part, as you were saying, of the Jack Daniel's Wicked Halloween Garden. And tonight, starting at 6, you are going to get to see many, many cars just like this. Beautiful cars, works of art, if you will, and that is Rad Revival, a celebration of 80s and 90s car culture, music culture, bike culture, pretty much all 80s and 90s cool culture, and the guy behind it all is my guy, Eric Benson. Eric, talk to me about Rad Revival, all part of the Jack Daniel's Wicked Garden.
Yeah, so you know, we were excited with the turnout for our Cars and Commons show this summer, and it generated so much interest that Steve and I down here at Paristown decided to put together this 80s, 90s vibe. And you know, my goal was to create everything that was so great back in the 80s and 90s, you know, whether it was cars or the music or the outfits and all the fun that comes with all three.
It's really awesome. And paint me a little bit of a picture. So we've got two here. We're going to get to Bill in just a second, but this is Bill's car. He rebuilt this, by the way. But there are going to be dozens of cars just lining the streets of Paristown right now.
Yeah, so you know, picture all these brick streets full of different cars from the era. I'm going to roll out the red carpet for some of our special cars here right in front of the cafe. I know a lot of folks love the DeLoreans and the old Lamborghinis of the day. And hey, you know, if you had a car poster in your room when you were little, it'll probably be here.
Yeah. We all grew up seeing the coolest kid in school drive a car up to school, and we all grew up wanting to do it. For me, it was one of these. A guy named Don I went to high school with had him. We called him Pontiac Don, and a guy who rebuilt this by hand, his name is Bill. Bill, this is going to be on display. What do we got here? And talk to me a little bit about it.
So this is a 92 Firebird. It originally started kind of just a base model, and I've built it into a tribute car for a 92 Firehawk.
Awesome. And if people want to follow how you rebuilt this, turn to the camera and show them your shirt. How can they do it?
Garage on YouTube.
So that's Stebbins Garage. That's on YouTube. We're going to be here all morning. We'll have more cars. We'll have dogs later. We're going to have a train. We got so much happening. There's going to be music. It's going to be a time. It's going to be a time. I'm going to take this baby for a spin, whether Bill likes it or not.
Oh,
Bill,
no.
Not good on a manual.
Better
we'll see how that goes for you, Sam.
And it was a good time. So that was kind of the end of the build as far as getting it functional. And I guess from here on, we're going to just keep working on it as best we can. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. I hope this was entertaining. I don't know how the video is going to turn out because I'm going to be editing it over the next week or so and adding some more stuff in. If you like this style of video, let me know, and I'll try and do more of them. I have a little bit of time since I'm on vacation, so it's not just me trying to get something out. Anyway, I hope you had a great holiday, and I'll see you on the next one.